During the Mongol Empire, the Mongol diet mainly consisted of milk and meat. In fact, they looked down on the Chinese for eating grains. The most common forms of meat were horse, sheep, and ox, and they would often dry out the meat without salt and eat it like that, and they would turn the blood and intestines into sausages. And in terms of drink, they would drink mare's milk. Now this contains quite a lot of sugar, so as it ferments it becomes alcoholic. And they also used to hunt a lot, obviously, and some of the most common forms of animals they would hunt were wild sheep, gazelle and hares, and in winter months they could catch a lot of marmots, mainly because they were hibernating and sleeping together, so they could catch 20 or 30 of them at a time. But they had a very strange way of slaughtering animals. Instead of cutting their neck or something like that, they would lie the animals on their back, slice their stomach, and they did this in order to save the blood and make more sausages. And it was this diet of dried meat, blood, sausages and mare's milk that allowed the Mongol army to advance so quickly. But I should say that this diet was for the wealthier Mongols. Slaves, for instance, were described as drinking nothing but dirty water and eating rats, but only rats with short tails for some reason. But the amount of meat that the Mongol nobility ate was huge. In fact, Kublai Khan apparently had his brothers bring around 1,000 animals each day to him. And in order to catch so many animals, they organised great hunts. And Marco Polo described one of them. And to sum it up quite briefly, you had Kublai Khan and his two brothers. His two brothers brought 10,000 men each. And out of these 10,000 men, 2,000 of them, so 4,000 in total, brought great mastiffs. So that's 20,000 men and 4,000 mastiffs. But you had other animals used to hunt, of course. Birds of prey weren't incredibly popular. Kublai Khan had 800, I think. And the larger birds of prey, like the golden eagles, could capture things like wolves. But you had other animals brought in from across the empire, like lynx and cheetah, and also lions were carried in covered carts. So if they were going through forests, they would send beaters into the forest first to scare out small animals for the birds of prey to catch. But on open plains, they would spread out in a great formation and essentially encircle any animal that came within it. And this tactic allowed them to capture things like, obviously, deer and wild sheep, but also bears and tigers as well.